Good evening. Welcome to World News. I am Wisdom Onizi. First, the headlines. Nigerian government promises to support Maiduguri flood victims. UN says escalating violence in Sudan is of deep concern. 95,000 Japanese over 100 years, says government. And on sport, Scotland agrees to host Commonwealth Games in 2026. Now the news in details. Nigerian President Bola Tinubu says the federal government will support the people of Borno State amidst the floods that have ravaged part of the state. The president made this promise on Monday when he visited the state to sympathize with the flood victims and the state government, expressing sadness over the massive losses caused by the flooding. The floods have so far killed about 37 people, displaced about 1 million people, and destroyed property worth millions of naira. The Anambra State Governor Chukwuma Soludo has approved the appointment of individuals to serve as members of Anambra State Civil Service Commission. Soludo said the move is part of his administration's ongoing commitment to enhancing the efficiency and effectiveness of the state civil service system. This was disclosed in a press statement issued by the governor's press secretary, Christian Aburume, on Tuesday. We also have you know that the opposition continues to mount over the emergence of Callistus Okafor as the new factional national chairman of the Labour Party. In two separate interviews, the National Secretary of the party, Umar Farouk, and the Deputy President of the Nigeria Labour Congress Political Commission, Theophilus Ndobuaku, disowned the factional leader. While attention has focused on the rift between the Julius Abure-led National Working Committee and the 29-man Caretaker Committee, headed by former Minister of Namadi, Usman, over the past week, Okafor seized the opportunity to announce his arrival. Okafor, a former deputy national chairman of the LP, told newsmen in a press conference in Abuja that he was the party's rightful leader. The factional chairman stated that his decision to take over the administration of the party from Abure was backed by a 2018 consent judgment of the Federal High Court, which he claimed had been ignored. Now, when we return, news from other parts of Africa. Stay with us. Welcome back. News from other parts of Africa. After more than a year of fighting between the army and the paramilitary rapid support forces, the people of Sudan remain trapped in a cycle of displacement, lack of aid, and increasingly hunger. Stephen Dujarric, spokesperson for the United Nations Secretary General, on Monday said the escalating violence, particularly in North Darfur capital El Fasher, is of deep concern. He said the resident and humanitarian coordinator for Sudan, Clementine Nkwata Salami, is calling on all parties to the conflict to refrain from targeting the city and to protect civilians. This comes following reports of large-scale fighting there late last week. Initial reports indicate that healthcare facilities and displacement camps were impacted. The UN says thousands have died in the war, which has forced some 8 million people to flee their homes to safer areas in Sudan, all to neighboring countries. Now we move to other parts of the world. After this break, stay with us. Welcome back. Now, news from other parts of the world. Germany has begun random checks at its border with 5 Western European nations, expanding a system of control already in place at its 4 other borders. The police control began at the borders with France, the Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg and Denmark on Monday morning and are due to continue for 6 months. The coalition government is under increasing pressure over immigration following recent deadly knife attacks in which the suspects were asylum seekers. In August, the Islamic State group claimed responsibility for a knife attack in the western city of Solingen, in which 3 people were killed. Germany has also seen a rise in support for the opposition far-right and conservatives, pushing immigration and security concerns higher on the political agenda. However, experts have questioned the long-term effectiveness of the measure. Away from that, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has accused the U.S. of impeding UN Security Council's resolution on Gaza ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas. After speaking with the Egyptian counterpart on Monday, Lavrov said the Russians welcome any step to stop the bloodshed, alleging that the U.S. does not want to pass any decision that would lead to this. Lavrov described the U.S.-sponsored resolution endorsing a ceasefire plan as an empty piece of paper, adding that Russians obtained from the vote on the resolution. No promises of the United States were fulfilled, he added. 1-week trance in November resulted in scores of hostages held by the Hamas being released, but since then, attempts to secure an agreement have repeatedly stalled, with Israel and Hamas accusing one another of making new and unreasonable demands. Hamas is pushing for a complete withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza, but Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has stood firm in his stance that troops must remain on the Philadelphia corridor in the Gaza-Egypt border. We also have that the number of people in Japan aged 100 or older has hit a record high of more than 95,000, almost 90% of them women, government data showed on Tuesday.